Assalamu alaikum students and welcome to MLS Online Virtual Classroom. Today is our lesson number 6 and we are going to be covering page number 16 of Oxford Discover 6. Let's begin. Before you read, students, I really like this section of our book which is on page number 16, the before you read section, because it has so fascinating questions that we are tempted to answer them and to think about them. So it says think. Who uses bridges and tunnels? Now we have already studied about bridges and tunnels, what they are, how many forms are there. Now let's see who basically uses bridges. You must know the users of bridges. We also use bridges in our daily life. So a bridge can be used by trains, pedestrians and road traffic. You might have remembered that we used the word freight trains and passenger trains, right? So freight trains means cargo trains or any kind of train that carries any goods, and passenger train means that carry travelers. Then we have pedestrians right over here. What does pedestrian mean? Pedestrian means a person who walks rather than traveling in a car. So it means someone who walks, someone who is by foot. So he can also or she can also use a bridge. And road traffic. Obviously, we commonly use uh, bridges while traveling on in vehicles, in cars. So second is also used for pipeline or waterway. We have already studied what a waterway is. Waterway is any river or canal that can carry a ship or boat for any purpose, be it for traveling purposes or for cargo purposes. So bridges are also used as waterway or for a pipeline, so to carry water pipeline from one place to another. The third is overhead power lines are also carried by a bridge. Here we have a bridge and that depicts the power lines, overhead power lines. Let me show it to you here. These are the overhead power lines which are supported on the bridge and that carries electricity from one place to another. So bridges can also cater for this purpose as well. The next being transmission antennas uses bridges. Now what are transmission antennas? Here we can see a transmission antenna which is basically used for mobile or radio systems to boost up the signals. So we can also have transmission antennas on bridges as well. Nowadays, you know that wildlife is being really looked after and people are really concerned about the killing of wildlife when they cross the heavy traffic highways or roads. So they have created and built bridges that also cater to their needs, you know. So wildlife can go from one green area along the road to another area by crossing that bridge. It is a very convenient and very good way to help them out. Now some users of tunnels as well. We have studied about bridges. Now let's come to tunnels. A tunnel can be built. Tunnel can be used by pedestrians, vehicles, trains, or even used as a canal. So the same purpose. Pedestrians you already know by now. Someone who walks by foot. Vehicles, you know, transport vehicles like cars, trucks, or lorries. Trains, you know, you can be a freight train or a passenger train, or you even used as a canal for water, for to transport water from one place to another or from one water body to another, as a link between them. If you have rivers on both sides or even sea on both sides, you can have a canal that carries the water from one water body to another water body. Now here we have some are used for water supply, for consumption, to make electricity, or even as a sewer. So what is the meaning of a sewer? An underground channel for carrying drainage water or waste matter. So sewer is any underground channel, tunnel, which carries the drainage water, which can be from floods, from heavy rains, or waste, which means the sewerage water waste, which the houses or even the industrial water waste is. So that is also carried by a tunnel. And it says for consumption as well, so we can also have tunnels built to carry water from one place to another for consumption of water, which means fresh water, or to make electricity, which means you can have tunnels built to carry water to the hydroelectric power stations as well. Next is tunnel can be used by military for secret purposes. So this is a very true thing, that military also uses tunnels or make tunnels to have their secret purposes fulfilled. And it says even used by people for smuggling. So kindly be aware of such places as well. Here we have a tunnel which carries the sewer, which is, carry the sewerage water, acting as a sewer. You can see how ugly it has become because it has been carrying either the drainage water or acting as a sewer to carry the waste matter as well from either household or from industries. Moving on, we have the next question as, what kind of obstacles do bridges and tunnels help us overcome? So you might have already remembered by now that tunnels and bridges help us overcome many obstacles. So here's a list of some of them. Valleys. You must know that when we cross one mountain and want to go to the other mountain, there might be a deep valley in between, which might be a hindrance or an obstacle to go to that part. So we can use a bridge. We can use a bridge to connect one mountain to another and cross really easily and within no time. Then rivers. When we have rivers, we can use when we have rivers between two mainland or two dry land, we can use a bridge to go that part of the land. So if we have one area here and the other area here, and any water canal, river or stream running between it, we can help build a bridge over it and cross to that side without any hurdle or obstacle. Apart from that, water bodies like seas and oceans. So this is where the tunnel help us. We can overcome water bodies as hurdles or even seas and oceans to go to that part. And this we will discover later on in this lesson, how we can overcome water bodies and go to that part without being a menace and within no time. The next is mountains. Okay, students, when we want to go to some land and there's a huge mountain terrain or a mountain range in front of us and we want to cross that, one way is to build a road over it and then cross it. But that is very time taking, that is very expensive as well, that might be very hazardous because the mountain range may be very steep and it might cost even more. So in such way, a tunnel can help us cross that part. We have, and we will be seeing in later sections, that how a tunnel can be built through a mountain by a tunnel borer, and we can easily have a hole cut in the mountain and we can easily pass it through the other side. So we can easily go to the other side by having a tunnel built in the mountain. Apart from that, ditches. So ditches can be of any kind, be it a normal common ditch which we can have the in local language we say nalas, right? So we can have those like water drainage ditches or any kind of ditch that is for any purpose. So we can also overcome it by having bridges. The next question is, which famous bridges or tunnels can you name? Now I know that all of you must have been through tunnels and bridges in some part of your life, or not if daily. So let's just see one of a few famous bridges or tunnels in the world as well as in Pakistan. So the first being the Golden Gate Bridge in San Francisco. Now we have seen this already and you must be familiar with it as well. Yes students, this is the Golden Gate Bridge which is in San Francisco, and this is a very famous bridge throughout the world. This is also a suspension bridge. We discussed this in the previous video. The second being the Tower Bridge of London. And here is a picture of the Tower Bridge. It's really famous in the London and across the world. The second being the Sydney Harbour Bridge in Australia. Now this may seem familiar, but you must have seen this in either movies or cartoons, or if you have visited Australia, Sydney, you might have seen, and this has an opera house right behind it as well. The fourth being Lansdowne Bridge in Sakkar, Pakistan. Now you might confuse these two, but there's a very big difference. The Sydney Harbour Bridge in Australia is an archway, it's an archway bridge, whereas the Lansdowne Bridge in Sakkar, Pakistan, it's a cantilever bridge. So there's a big difference in how these bridges are made, and we will discuss this in the next video as well. Now some of the tunnels that we must know, or we might have even heard of it, and one of the famous is Gotthard Base Tunnel in Switzerland, and this is what it seems like, one of the openings of it. So you might know, or you might want to know, what is it that it's so famous. So students, this is the longest and the deepest railway and road traffic tunnel. It is around 50 kilometers long and it is really deep. It's running through the lower side of the Alps, the mountains. It is running through the lowest side of that, and it is long, deep, and it's a railway tunnel basically. The next being Channel Tunnel between England and France. So there's a very unique twist to it because it's made or constructed on the channel. This is a channel between France and England, which is the United Kingdom. So this water body is called channel, right? And when we dig a tunnel across it, and this tunnel is entirely under water, under sea, below sea level. So they called it a channel plus a tunnel. So they also sometimes call it a channel, which means a tunnel that is across a channel. So this is very famous for it being connecting France and the UK, basically England in the UK, and it is under water, under sea, and has made the travel and trade between the two countries really fast and really easy. It is very costly as well. The next being Atabad Tunnel in Hunza, Pakistan. Let's have a look. And this is a really beautifully and intricately designed and in a very sensitive way as well. We can see that we have the Atabad Lake right here, and this tunnel is crossing in such a way that it's connecting all the three mountains and without disrupting any. And the beautiful part is it has bridges as well as tunnels. So there are two bridges and then a tunnel across each of them, right? So it is beautifully designed and is really famous for the sensitive location as well and the design. So students, that was the end of lesson number 6. I hope you have understood really clearly and even enjoyed the lesson, and you must keep in mind such things because this will be connected in the next lesson as well. So thank you so much and see you next time. Allah Hafiz.